Right now, a new report says even more people will hear noise from fighter jets if the Air Force decides to house F-35s at Truax Field.
As soon as I took it, I regretted it. I knew it was wrong. It was a mistake.
Quintez Cephas may not take the stand in his defense, but his former roommate talks about taking a photo of the two women accusing Cephas of sexual assault.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Just into the Channel 3000 Alert Center, a draft report from the United States Air Force says housing F-35 jets at Truax Field will have a significant noise increase.
Gabriela Buquera is live from a neighborhood near the airport with more new at 6. Gabby?
I'm in an airport that's just about 5 minutes from Truax Field, where the Air Force is considering housing the F-35 jets. And their recent report evaluates some of the potential impacts that it could bring to Madison. One of the first is noise complaints, which is expected to expand further south of Commercial Avenue and to higher levels for those who are closer to the airport. Neighbors to Truax say that the F-16 jets are already too loud and they don't want to see it increase with F-35s.
People are disturbed by the F-16s too, so it's going to be a pretty rough place to live.
There is no anticipation that these noise levels will cause hearing loss, according to the report. The 115th Fighter Wing declined an on-camera interview, but in an email statement says they are welcoming public comment about bringing the F-35 jets to Madison. There is an opportunity for public comment on September 12th, and we'll know for sure whether or not Madison will get the F-35s by February 2020. I'll have more reaction from neighbors tonight at News 3 Now at 10.
All right, Gabriela Buquera reporting from the east side. Thank you, Gabby. UW-Madison football player Danny Davis says he does regret taking a picture of women in his roommate's bed, that roommate being Quintez Cephas.
Two women claim Cephas sexually assaulted them 1 year ago. Jamie Perez joins us from the Dane County Courthouse, where day 3 just wrapped up about an hour ago. Jamie?
Well, today, Cephas was actually asked if he wanted to testify in court, but his attorney said that a decision on that will be made tomorrow. But today, his friend and former roommate, Danny Davis, did testify, saying that although he was drinking that night, he was able to recall some of the events that happened. Now, according to the testimony that he gave in court today, the alleged victims were coherent and were walking fine on their own that night. He also said he had a conversation with one of them after she told him she regretted having sex with Cephas and was worried what people would think. Davis also admitted to taking a photo of the girls in Cephas's room after Cephas walked out of the room naked and asked David to take the picture. But Davis said that he deleted it soon after. The defense later asked the judge to dismiss the case, saying there was not enough evidence to prove Cephas was guilty of these accusations. Here's just a part of how that conversation went.
The FNE exam didn't turn up anything of value with respect to the issue of consent or non-consent, as the FNE nurse testified that the injuries didn't indicate anything other than that there was intercourse.
The fact that the forensic nurse had nothing to speak to as to consent was an awfully surprising, seeing no forensic nurse in the history of forensic nurses has ever come into court and testified as to whether someone gave consent or not.
Now, the judge did not end up dismissing the case. Court resumes tomorrow at 8 a.m. We will be here to cover that, of course, and to see if Cephas ends up testifying.
Jamie, thank you.
To weather now, the sunshine and clear skies continue today and tomorrow. Let's check your first alert forecast now with meteorologist Chris Reese. Chris?
Hey guys, things have been absolutely to be very nice for us. So here's a live look right now. And it's difficult to find a cloud in the sky. There might be one far on the horizon. Temperature-wise, we're at 79 right now. That sunshine will continue. Winds are out of the east at 5 miles per hour. Dew points have even dropped into the 40s. Here, more temperatures right now. Janesville at 81, Mineral Point at 82 as we speak. And Doppler track free of any showers or thunderstorms. I do want to point out what even happened with the cloud cover earlier today. Throughout the western part of the state, we had some clouds pulse up, but even those have fallen apart. And we're going to keep the clear skies around as we go through the rest of your evening. Temperatures will continue to drop. We'll be at 73 by 8 o'clock, by 10 o'clock into the 60s, and eventually those lows fall into the upper 50s. Later on, I am watching at least the chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm into the weekend, but for the most part, I think folks are going to like the main forecast in a few minutes.
Looking forward to that. Thank you, Chris. A Missouri farmer charged with tampering with the rental truck used by two missing Wisconsin brothers will remain in jail without bond. Garland Nelson is accused of driving the truck from his farm where Nicholas and Justin DeMel last visited to a commuter lot where it was found abandoned. Law enforcement found remains on that farm yesterday, but those have not been identified.
There's a new push at the state capitol for Wisconsin health classes to teach students how to prevent teen dating violence. Representative Melissa Sargent authored a bipartisan measure that would require the state to establish a policy on preventing sexual violence and dating violence. Schools would be required to use the state's model or create their own. The Rape Crisis Center has educators who go to a number of Dane County high schools and middle schools and teach their own curriculum and support the proposal.
The problem is because there is no set curriculum from the state, it's all over the board. So we might go into one classroom for 30 minutes once a year, another classroom for a couple of classes in a row, and then some not at all.
Sargent has introduced this bill before, and it's even had public hearings, but she says there has been some opposition to the idea of teaching young people about relationships. A bipartisan group of state lawmakers wants to ban people from vaping indoors. The proposed bill expands upon the 2009 smoke-free air law that prohibits smoking in indoor public places. The lawmakers cite reports out last week that at least a dozen teens and adults were hospitalized with lung damage related to vaping in southeastern Wisconsin. They say 13 other states have added e-cigarettes to their existing smoke-free laws. Police in Beloit say they are looking for clues that could help solve a string of recent crimes.
Some neighbors in the area now fear that the crimes could continue. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter joins us from our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with how these crimes have put the relatively quiet area on high alert. Adam?
Well, Danica and Charlotte, on the surface and individually, these crimes might not seem all too related. Breaking into a shed, stealing a lawnmower, lighting a couple of gas cans on fire. But Beloit police say they're starting to piece together these crimes, and neighbors say they hope they find who's doing it soon.
Carly Painter says not much usually happens near her neighborhood.
Quiet. I don't see much of the neighbors.
But these last few days, that's not the case. First, it was the break-ins reported on the Beloit College campus, where police say a lawnmower and a UTV were stolen. From there were robberies continued at a nearby horse ranch in mobile home community, before ultimately 2 cans of gas were lit on fire here at Central Christian Church. Police say all of this crime took place in just one night, and now they think it's all related.
What we do is we use all our investigative tools. We look at evidence from the scene, and we try to figure out how can we use all our knowledge and all our experience of our detectives to figure out how did these crimes occur and who actually committed those crimes.
Just this morning,
My car was propped open like this. So.
Painter says she feels she became the next victim in the crime spree, as she says she found her car broken into outside her home, just about a few hundred yards from where one of the other crimes took place.
And I came out this morning and my stuff from my glove box and center console was all over my seat and floor.
Captain Dan Mullen of the Beloit Police Department says smaller crimes like this could actually lead police to the people they're looking for to begin with.
A lot of times someone's vehicle may get actually rummaged through or broken into, and they don't call us because they don't feel there's nothing that we can really do. But a lot of that comes into, we get the knowledge that something else occurred.
Painter says the whole thing has her shaken up.
It was scary. It was out of my element.
But tonight, police have one simple message.
You know, if you see something like this, to please give us a call.
Beloit police say one of the stolen items they're still looking for is a UTV, which is a vehicle that's similar to an ATV. They said whoever stole it is likely still driving it around, so they say if you see that or anything else that's out of the ordinary, to give them a call.
All right, Adam Duxter down in Janesville for us. Thank you, Adam. Republican Assembly Speaker Robin Vos is accusing a Democratic state representative of grandstanding, saying the paralyzed lawmaker will not be able to call into committee meetings. Robin Vos sent a letter to Representative Jimmy Anderson today saying he cannot approve those accommodations arbitrarily. Instead, Vos said he would make a videographer available by request for meetings that Anderson cannot make. He also said he would propose allowing for paper ballots so Anderson wouldn't have to be present to vote all the time. Anderson responded on Twitter saying what Speaker Vos is offering isn't close to what he needs and that the decision should be taken out of Vos's hands. The competition for the title of fittest man and fittest woman on earth is underway.
Happening right now at the Alliant Energy Center is one of the women's events. This is the third year the games have been in Madison, and it's the biggest yet.
Welcome to the 2019 Fremont CrossFit Games.
This year's field is expanded to include athletes from 114 countries. That's up from 32 in 2018. Day one started with 148 men and 134 women, but those numbers were slashed in half to 75 athletes after the first event. For a full schedule of events, head to our website, channel3000.com. Next at 6, residents near an East Madison park are upset about plans for a new sewer line.
City crews would have to cut down trees to install it, while the Parks Division says this is the best option. That's coming up. Welcome back. A group of neighbors near Rindall Park are hoping that soon they don't have to say goodbye to their woods.
The city has planned a project that will go through the park, taking with it 39 trees. Amy Reed shows us why the city says this route is the best option.
The trees at Rindall Park have history. They are part of a feature John Becker cherishes, and he doesn't want to see them go.
When you cut through a 250-foot wide path through a woods and go down 45 feet, you're completely disrupting the network between these very old trees.
The downed trees would leave a path for a new sewer line, which the Madison Sewerage District has already started on north of the park. Soon it will be built through here, but Becker says there's better ways. He started a petition calling on the city to change course.
Despite neighbors asking otherwise, the city of Madison has already mapped this path right to the trees, but the people behind this petition hope it's not too late to change their minds.
But the Parks Department, which helped pick this path, says it's the best way.
I think it's just important to try to think long term and to recognize that we don't do these things and these projects without a lot of balancing and without a lot of process.
Knepp said the city was careful in picking where the sewer line will go because with it comes a permanent easement, not suited for under the cricket pitch to the north or down the middle of the park as it could hinder future projects. He says the decision wasn't easy, but not all trees will go, and this preserves the best of the bunch.
We literally assessed every single tree and made choices, tough choices, about we need to save this oak and that oak.
But Becker is worried about the impacts losing old trees will have, from carbon absorption to the wooded ecosystem as a whole. And that's where he hopes the city will listen.
There's a choice here. So nobody's saying, you know, spend a lot of more money, reroute this whole path. We're saying pick a better path through that part of the park. Avoid killing all those trees. There's no need, none whatsoever.
Amy Reed, News 3 Now.
This petition has nearly 200 signatures, but the Parks Department said the only way this could really get changed is if the Sewerage District abandons the project, which is unlikely given the need. After 5 years, Chef Tori Miller is closing his Asian fusion restaurant, Suzhou. In a Facebook post, Miller said he's heartbroken to say goodbye, but said he's never been happier to have this experience. Suzhou on East Washington Avenue will close on August 24th. We have a list of their limited hours until then on channel3000.com.
It's been 2 years now since East and Westtown malls implemented a youth escort policy, attempting to cut down on complaints about unruly teenagers there. Since late July 2017, mall visitors under 18 must have a parent or guardian who is at least 21 years old on Fridays and Saturdays after 4 p.m. or any other time the mall finds necessary. Madeline O'Neill will look into whether the policy is working and how it is affecting area teens tonight on News 3 Now at 10. Next at 6, we have beautiful weather in store for the weekend.
And there's only a slight chance of showers. Meteorologist Chris Reese will have your first alert forecast next.
Temperature in Madison, 79 degrees right now after hitting a high of 80 earlier in the day. Those winds now starting to turn. Instead of being out of the north, we're watching them come out of the east. By this time tomorrow, that'll likely be the south and southeast that we see our winds coming in. So we're starting to warm up our temperatures just a little bit. 81 right now in Janesville, Boscobel at 82, 84 as you work your way towards La Crosse. Now the lake shore is just a little bit cooler. Those winds coming off the lake are keeping the air not only cooler, but also drier. Check out where these dew points are not just into the 40s, but the low 40s, perhaps even some upper 30s. If it weren't for the fact that I think our winds are going to become a little bit more southerly, some areas could get really cold later on tonight with those cooler dew points. But I do think most of us are going to stay on the milder side. You look at the western half of the state, a lot of these dew points are a lot higher. This is more so a sign of what's to come in time. The western part of the upper Midwest, dew points are all the way into the mid 60s and the upper 60s. We will feel at least some of that as we go into the weekend, but it will not be unbearable at all. We're still dry though. No showers or thunderstorms over the state of Wisconsin. A few little specks showing up as you work your way towards the UP of Michigan, but for the most part, the upper Midwest is dry thanks to high pressure that's in control. There are two disturbances though, one towards the south and west, another little cold front towards the north. Those will be allowed to get a little bit closer to us as this high pressure works its way over towards the east somewhat. As we go through the weekend, that is going to bring back into the picture some slight chances for some showers and thunderstorms. So here's one tomorrow afternoon. That's mainly throughout northern Wisconsin, but by Saturday afternoon, that may try to throw up a little shower or thunderstorm our direction. Most folks are going to stay dry. Most of your Saturday will be dry. Same can be said as we go into Sunday. Again, I don't suspect a lot of folks will see this weekend, but that is something I'm watching and at least paying attention to. For the most part, here's how things are going to play out. Temperatures are going to cool down into the upper 50s tonight. This is with the clear skies staying in play, and then into tomorrow we'll start to see the low 80s showing back up as those winds turn out of the south. Will be just a little bit more humid. The same can be said as we go into Saturday afternoon, and again, there's that slight chance of a shower or a thunderstorm, but one of the bigger rain chances that I'm watching is as we get you towards next weekend. A little bit of a cold front is going to try to slide its way on down as some cooler air out of Canada tries to work its way in here. Well, Madison is going to be right on the border between some of that cooler air towards the north and that warmer air towards the south and east. This oftentimes is a setup that can lead to some rain chances. So we have the rain chances in the forecast for Friday and Saturday next week. A couple rain chances as we go through the next 5 days as well, but all of those are very slight for the most part. The sun is what most folks are going to see as we go through the weekend.
Badger football practice begins day one in the race to be the starting quarterback. The story is coming up in sports. More roster tweaking for the Brewers today. They sent Tyler Saladino and Taylor Williams to AAA San Antonio. Pitcher Jacob Barnes designated for assignment, and outfielder Trent Grisham called up to the majors from San Antonio. Brewers close out their series in Oakland this afternoon. They were leading 3-2 in the 8th, but Josh Hader gave up another homer. This one to Matt Chapman. That 2-run shot turned the game around. Final score, A's 5, Brewers 3. Brewers play the Cubs at Wrigley Field tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, the Packers have their annual family night practice at Lambeau Field. If you're going, gates open at 5:30. Practice starts at 7:30. And the Packers say there are still a few tickets available at $10 a piece online at Ticketmaster. Of course, Aaron Rodgers is going to be the focus of the Packers offense. He'll be throwing a lot to his #1 target, Devontae Adams, but it can't be just Adams. Geronimo Allison, Jay Kumaro, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and others will have to chip in, too, if the Packers offense is going to be successful.
How can you contribute and help this team? Collectively, it's a team game. If Devontae is doing good and he's having an awesome year, and God forbid he has a hiccup, who could be that next man to fulfill that void and contribute? It takes the whole team to contribute and help win. And if we honestly want to get to that Super Bowl caliber level, it's going to take the whole 53-man roster to get us there.
Melvin Gordon has requested a trade from the Los Angeles Chargers. Gordon's in the last year of his rookie contract, wants a new deal. The Chargers aren't budging from their original offer of $10 million this season. Gordon's scheduled to make $5.6 million this season from the Chargers. Badger football team had its first practice of fall camp this morning at Camp Randall Stadium. The season opener now less than a month away, August 30th at South Florida. Let the quarterback competition begin. Jack Cohn, the incumbent, he started 4 games, including the win in the Pinstripe Bowl. And then there's the savior, Graham Mertz. Well, actually, he's the implied savior. We'll see if he can eventually take over the starting quarterback position. Then there's Danny Vandenboe and Chase Wolf. They say they're all not worried about the battle to be #1.
I wouldn't say it's always in the back of my mind. With the quarterback position, it's always how it's going to be, and that's with every position, too. You're always fighting for a job and just be the best version of yourself.
I think that for our entire quarterback room, we all have to have that. And I think that that's the only way that we can all grow. And I think we're all approaching it that way, and that's going to help whoever the last one to come out of the whole competition is, that they're going to be at the top of their game and they're going to lead this team.
Badgers ranked 17th in the nation in today's coaches preseason college football poll. The usual suspects on top: Clemson, Alabama, Georgia. The top Big Ten teams: Ohio State 5th, Michigan 7th. Last night, Boston Red Sox pitcher Rick Porcello didn't pitch very well on his way to the clubhouse. He whacked 2 TV screens. Oh. Well, remember on the olden days when your TV set didn't work, you'd give it a whack on the side? Well, apparently that doesn't work anymore. Let's see if, well, maybe it got better. No, I guess it didn't.
Oh. I think on the side's a little different than right in the screen.
You need Arthur Fonzarelli for that one.
Hey.
All right, a quick recap of your forecast with Chris.
Yeah, things are going to remain sunny as we go through the rest of today. Another quiet night with those lows in the 50s.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here at 10.